He was laying in bed, awake, waiting. It had been 5 days since he last saw her, and his worries began to rise. The necklace was still glowing in the bright pink color, and he held it before him, his eyes following the swing in motion from left to right and back. He wondered what Jonah was doing. The two of them hadn't spoken a lot. Dew didn't purposefully avoid him, the hybrid just stopped visiting him in the kitchen. Sometimes they saw each other on the corridor or the dining hall. The conversation was short, consisting of nothing more than a question of the other one's well-being, the plans for the day, and goodbyes. He wasn't angry at Jonah, and with every day passing he gained more trust that he would keep his word and not do any harm to Avery. Still, he didn't stop checking on the presence of the knife inside his diary whenever he opened it to write his daily events and thoughts down. It was the second day after the shocking revelation that Dew had found a note on a table. By the handwriting he could immediately identify it as being Avery's. "I'm sorry for my absence. I've got a lot to do right now." Dew shrugged it off, even though in the back of his head he worried how she was dealing with this new info in her own existence. If he was being honest with himself, he wasn't. At first he had just worried about the fact he fell in love with a dead person a few years ago and hadn't noticed over all this time. Then the next concern, which really threw a punch into his guts, spread through his mind. He was guaranteed that she would be subjected to a gradually worsening condition over a span of time consisting of months or a year. The idea reaching him was that he might have to be the person to take her out of her misery. Dew couldn't imagine how bad it might end up being, but if Avery already passed out for nearly a day after healing him, wouldn't this also soon happen after doing nothing more than fulfilling her duty for the day? He didn't want to imagine it, yet the thought never fully dispersed. The next day came, and so did another note with the same message but different wording. The scenario repeated itself the day after. On the fourth day he got enough of it and wrote a reply. "I understand why you are avoiding me, but we have to talk eventually." Just like the days before, the next message arrived during noon, and Dew picked it up and read it after returning from his shift and finding the room to be empty. "I really have a busy time right now, but I will be here tonight. See you." But even after 2 hours of waiting past his usual bedtime, the place next to him stayed empty. He placed the necklace back around his neck and stuffed it under his nightshirt before rolling to the side and tucking himself into the blanket. It was too cold with one blanket, but too warm with two, so he was left unable to sleep. At some point he just grabbed the book and the tiny lamp, which was still giving all it got to light up its environment, and opened the page he had left at. Soon his eyes got used to the sparse light, and he vanished into the fantasy world of a pygmy chasing a dandelion seed. Page by page he consumed with the tiny letters and detailed drawings of oversized landscapes and animals both aiding and clawing at the little guy as he went on his way, determined to get to his goal. Dew followed as the pygmy fell into a deep pit with a rat, which tore off his arm and bit his leg, but never managed to consume it wholly. The little guy emerged to the light of day again, harmed but not left by courage. And he went on, climbed the steel hill, knowing he was so close to reaching the seed and getting it to safety. He fell, tumbled down, but got up again. A sparrow helped him to ascend as he was close to dying, and he finally reached the tip. And he found the seed, but it wasn't a seed anymore. It had become a flower, blooming on top of the hill as nicely and safely as a dandelion could. It didn't need the pygmy, but the pygmy was there, and he crawled towards the flower to rest at its stem, melancholically appreciating the beauty the seed had become, while the life slowly left his small and broken body. Dew closed the book. "I told you it's sad." Dew nearly dropped the book. "You're here," he coughed, as he turned to find her glancing over his shoulder. "I'm sorry, I was left up a little later than I expected," Avery apologized. She yawned and leaned against the wall while looking at him as if expecting something. "Did you teleport?" "No, you were just very deep into the book, and I'm tired from a long day too." Dew frowned worryingly. "Why did the length of your shift suddenly change?" She put a tired fake smile on her lips while replying, "My job changed to being a full-time commitment." But he didn't. You don't have to, right? Dew stammered as he realized one possible cause. She sighed. Well, some things happened after you were carried out 6 days ago. The princess claimed she was feeling ill and commanded me to escort her to her quarters that instant, where I stayed until she had me leave. Before doing so, she promised she would claim me to be her personal guard. I left so quickly after that conversation, mostly to visit Aaron, and he then told me my new work plan. Let's say it's almost a full-time occupation. Dew audibly gasped in relief while sinking back into his pillow. I was worried for you for a second. I'm glad that Albert got involved for your sake. She shook her head and asked, Why glad for me? You were the only one who was seriously in danger the moment he proposed the idea. Huh? He responded immediately, not knowing how it was about him all of a sudden. He was proposing to turn you into a comfort woman, not me. Avery's palm landed against her forehead, and she stroked her finger through her own hair while her mouth twisted as if she had bitten on something bitter. It's not that simple, she whispered. How's it not? If not for Albert, he could have forced you to, or am I wrong? Yes, you're very wrong. He couldn't have without your permission. The law makes me your property, so it is for you to decide what can or cannot happen to me. Now think. Why could this have not ended well for you? She corrected him, the loud tone she had used with Jonah a few days before returning. In irritation, Dewey shifted away from her, and her suppressed fury he could feel even without visual or physical representation. The air she had kept in streamed out like the flame of a mythical creature. Her hands dug deeper into her skull. He would have asked you to give back the Crown's access to my being, which had been taken away through the marriage contract via another contract. Avery pressed through her lips while her eyes were shut as if she experienced a headache. And if done so, yes, I would have ended up there in case Rufus would have agreed, which he wouldn't have. Believe it or not, his idea of getting rid of me the natural way of a night was replaced by attachment. Now, you would never voluntarily do that. Sign the contract, would you? Only then, when the voice she had spoken to him after his punishment returned, did Dew notice the goosebumps which had formed on his skin. A pink eyes glowed in the scantily illuminated room. There, in the unsettling color, Dew couldn't find that anger. Imagine what he would have done to make you, she continued, but her voice lacked the original coldness. You only need one arm to sign as well as one eye. They don't need your second arm, second eye, tongue, teeth, ears, legs, not all fingers or nose. Hell, you don't even need all your guts. Don't worry about me, worry about yourself. He felt his throat tightening before he talked back. And what about you and your health? Does that not matter? In an instant he was yanked forward as she grabbed him by the shirt with both hands. A voice pierced his ears as she shouted, You speak as if I have any dignity left. Avery took a deep audible breath in, and immediately her voice crumbled. You do have dignity, she then continued shakily, and if you leave this place I want you to continue to live, because I will die, and then you wasted yourself even more. Her head sank into his shirt, which she still clutched with her desperate hands, like a rope holding her afloat over an abyss. He froze. Her voice had become quiet as she whimpered, For once I feel scared of death. His arms gently moved around her. At the same time she let go and fully sank into him. Dew felt when her body began to shake. Her deep, unsteady breath became one with his, and her fear rushed into him. As if to shield her, Dew embraced her tighter and placed his head above hers, while her silent sobs blew against him. No matter what he thought of it wouldn't help her. No word, no gesture, no execution. Coming to the realization, his muscles weakened, making him fully sink into the bed, but his hands stayed in place. And they did so for a long time. She didn't cry. His shirt stayed dry. She didn't make any noise. Only her trembling reminded him of her sleepless consciousness. Descending into a thick blanket of tiredness, he began to quietly speak to her. You spent the last nights in the wood, right? Did you see the stars? I did for 2 of them, Avery replied quietly. There was this one star, though, which even illuminated the sky during the cloudy ones. That sounds lovely, Dew whispered dreamily, while his hand automatically found its way to her horns. I wish we could go out again, but I'll probably collapse. That's fine, we'll find a good day eventually. I'll be with her every day from now on. I will always be tired, she countered more steadily. If her intention was to know you to be safe, she will surely let you go earlier. Why would she care? She doesn't know me, and not even what scenario we were in before she chose me to be enough as an entertainment to her. Avery sniffed while slightly rolling off him, with keeping her arm and head on Dew's chest. Don't worry about that. She knows a lot more than you think. I'll talk to her tomorrow, okay? Dew stated, to which she responded with an exhausted chuckle. You and talking to the princess, huh? All right, I'll wait. Shut up and sleep, oh my stars. He rolled his eyes, knowing full well she couldn't see it. Her hand tugged at his shirt while she requested, Could you read to me, please? Dew reached for the book and opened its index. Flying over the stories, he picked one, flicked through the pages until reaching the right one, and began to read.